you got to see Trey Lance in person twice. It's more than anyone else, or well, I guess the same as everyone else in the media. But you saw him the first time, then you saw him just Tuesday in OTAs. Going into Tuesday, what kind of expectations did you have for Trey, and how do you think he lived up to those expectations?
I think my expectations had gotten a little too high. I bet my dad a bottle of wine that Trey Lance was going to start week one. And I don't know why I did that or where that came from. I mean, I don't think he's ready to start week one. And that's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's kind of as advertised. The book on him was that he's currently working on his mechanics, that it's going to take some time. He's a work in progress. If you want him, you got to be committed to you got to trust the process. And so just to see it in person to say, okay, I see what this is. Yeah, it's going to take a little time, but he just turned 21. He's not the most natural thrower, but he is a cannon. He's a great athlete and he's a hard worker. So he's going to go to the right coaches. They're not in the Niners organization, but they're all over the world. They're in California. There are throwing gurus that he can go to this offseason, and he can he can perfect his mechanics well enough to be a good dual threat quarterback.
Absolutely, and I think I've even seen with Trey, he goes to I think the quarterback coach Quincy Avery, I believe. I think Grant.
Yeah, my bad. I'm here. My bad.
No,
Sorry, my computer, my internet's going in and out. My bad. Yeah, he goes to Quincy Avery. He should probably go. He goes to John Beck, who works with Tom House. He should go to Tom House. Tom House is the Yoda of this. Okay. But here's what I see from him: when he throws to his right, some quarterbacks struggle one side more than the other. With Kaepernick, it was left. You really have to open up your hips to throw to your left. Jimmy Garoppolo does it great. Jimmy has his front hip open all the time. And this guy's a little bit like that too. He's really good at throwing to his left. He can fire those passes over there. But when it's time to throw it to his right, it's like he opens up a little too early, overstrides, and leaves his arm behind. The release point's a little different, and it's more of an arm throw, and it sails. You can see him do it. So that's what he's working through right now. As advertised, this is a guy who hasn't thrown many passes in his life compared to these other guys who are in the NFL. So even compared to Josh Rosen in these settings on a 7-on-7, I would imagine, even though Rosen hasn't played yet, I would imagine Rosen would outperform Lance. But remember, that's not real football. That's training. Real football is 11-on-11 with tackling, and he's going to look way better because you're going to have play action, rollouts, scrambling. He's going to look way better. So he's right on pace.
And I think that's good to hear because, I mean, just thinking back to those Cohn phones I was doing with you going up to the draft, I remember even I was super skeptical about him playing at all year one,
right?
Maybe even waiting into year two. So
yeah,
let's be real. We have to wait with Trey, and we have to let
his confidence in his arm comes and goes in the span of one practice. So until he handles that, I wouldn't make him my starting quarterback because he's making Jimmy look real confident. You know what I mean? His lack of confidence right now, which is okay for a 21-year-old who's trying to impress people, is just making Jimmy feel like, wow, wait a second. Maybe you're not running me out of town. Maybe things are changing. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think it is. It's going to be an interesting dynamic with Jimmy and Trey next year. Just seeing, I mean, this year and going up to week one. I mean, especially with how I'm looking in the comments.
It's like if you had a job, right? If you had a YouTube channel and it was great, and someone was like, you know what? We're taking it away from you and giving it to a 13-year-old kid. And you're like, oh, word. Okay, this kid's really good, right? And you see him and he's like terrified. And he's like stuttering and like looking at his nose. And like, this is a guy who's taking my job. Got it. Cool. We're good. It's like we're good. Like, I still have a career.
I'm comfortable in my position.
Go ahead. Go knock him out. I'll go after you, man.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think with Trey, I mean, it's just gonna be about a matter of cleaning up the mechanics. I mean, the fact is he can make every throw in the book. He can do it all.
Good decision maker, smart, big, athletic. No, just hit your spots, man. Yeah. And the thing is, look, not every quarterback has succeeded in the accuracy challenge of gaining it. Like Gabbert, for example. Gabbert. That's why he sucks. Sorry, Blaine. But that's why, by NFL standards, you're a backup because you can't put the ball where you want to put it. Now, he doesn't just miss high. He misses low. He misses every kind of way you can miss. I've seen a lot of Blaine Gabbert. He was a lot older when he was with the Niners, but God, it's painful, man. And you could feel the same thing with him. You'd feel the lack of confidence in his arm. He'll miss a throw. It's embarrassing, and it's just check down city the rest of the day. So that's where Trey has to leave. What's up, Amin? How you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah, and man, it's just gonna take some time with Trey. And like you were saying, I think what I'm gathering from what you're saying is he's just gotta bring it in a little bit and get more consistent with what he's
Yeah.
doing, rep after
I think
rep.
he could
And
really benefit from a year on the bench because if you play him right away, he's going to revert to his old mechanics.
that's exactly what
Under fire, you play on instinct. You're not thinking. So you want to give him as many reps as possible with the new, like the right way, before he has to go out there and sink or swim. So I really think, unless he makes tremendous strides, I just see where he's starting in May. If by the end of August he's a totally different dude, then yeah, throw him in there. But not until that happens. Otherwise, he could definitely benefit from some time on the bench. Definitely.
And there's definitely, the 49ers are in a situation where they have a quote unquote starting quarterback ahead of them to where maybe they can afford to leave Trey on the bench for a little longer than
maybe it's the right thing to do. Maybe it's the right thing to do.
I do want to end this topic on this question. How would you think he compares to a player like Colin Kaepernick, who's someone you saw in person? I think, did you see him his rookie year at camp, Grant?
Yeah, absolutely. That was the comparison I thought, but actually I think they're very different. Kaepernick always has supreme confidence in his arm. I mean, I never saw a Kaepernick go through a day where he's like, man, I'm not going to let this one go because I don't think I'm going to hit the receiver. No, dude. Kaepernick, although he was very confident in his legs, he was a pitcher. He got drafted by the Cubs. He could have played baseball. He might have been better at baseball. He just preferred football. So when he was on the field, when he would warm up, he had this confidence about him, like, I have a two-sport. I'm a professional thrower in two sports. I'm really good. And his thing was he only threw fastballs. I mean, he would throw so hard, he would hurt receivers' hands. Only guys like Crabtree and Bolden could even catch the thing. Some guys, it would just go right through their hands. DBs for sure couldn't catch that sucker. He didn't have touch and things like that. But no, I mean, he was supremely confident in his arm, more confident than Alex Smith was. Trey is like Gabbert right now in the sense it's like, man, I'm going to miss that throw and people are going to be, it's going to be embarrassed. I'm not even going to throw it. He's holding the ball. There's a guy, he's like, no, running back. And it's like, that's fair, man. You're 21. You're just getting your feet underneath you. But no, I don't see the comparison to Colin Kaepernick yet. Now, remember, Kaepernick was 23 when he came to the Niners. He'd been a 4-year starter. This kid is a kid. So it's a whole different thing.
I want to overemphasize this, Grant. He's younger than I am.
Yeah, he's super young. He looks like he's 25. He's 21.
Yeah.
Looks like he's 25.
Very much 21, and people just have to take that into account.
But he needs to get this accuracy stuff down because the way this offense is built, it's built on yards after the catch, which depends on pinpoint accuracy. Because arm strength isn't as important. You're running slants and digs, so you got to hit the guy chest high out in front. Otherwise, you're not getting the yards after the catch, and if you're not getting the yards after the catch, you don't have an explosive offense. So Trey, this is why Kyle may have wanted Mac Jones, because that's what Mac Jones specializes in. That's what he's going to be doing in New England. So Trey, this is very important.
Yeah, and all the reports out of New England were today were great about Mac Jones. So I'm sure that just makes 49ers.
And Trey Lance is great at dumping the ball off to running backs, but what about the slant? What about the dig? Are you going to put the ball, when you're throwing the 15-yard dig, are you throwing it way too high? Because now you're throwing picks. You don't have to grunt. You see him, man, he's like almost trying to impress the team and the media too much. Like when he aims the ball to the running back and it's like a little strange, but then when it's time to throw down the field, it's like this huge grunt, and it's very impressive when he hits the guy on target. It's like, man, like look at that arm. But when he misses, like you really wind it up for like a 15-yard pass. You can take a little off, man. You want the guy to be able to catch the ball, So I think he'll have to learn that.
Okay. And I think that like we've been hampering on, it's just absolutely fair. And all the criticisms and like what you seem to have gathered is that what we saw from Trey when we were evaluating him is what we're getting. Right?
Yeah. Pretty. Yep.